we're all trying to do one key thing, and that's become successful. But in order to be successful, you have to bring about change. So today, I'm going to talk to you about change. And to keep it in light or in the mood of the word, I'm going to do this video completely different. I'm going to change it and let you see how I process things in my mind constantly, and the analogies and metaphors that I use for me that help me remember. So if you want to progress, be persuasive, and persevere through life, through changing, this is what you're going to have to do. These 4 key steps. And that's what I've told myself. So these key steps are making sure you have a good atmosphere, making sure you understand there's no such thing as a solo act in business. Make sure you've done the background on it, and you got to follow through. That's it. That's literally it to me. So the way that I was thinking of it in my head, and the reason why I'm calling this video Shoot Your Shot, is because in order to change, you got to shoot your shot. So when you're going out with your friends, or if you're out on a mission on your own, that's what we used to call it, and you're trying to talk to somebody, or if you're trying to talk to a girl or to a guy, depending on who you are, you got to shoot your shot. That's what they call it now. So I wanted to talk to you about shooting your shot towards change. So when you're shooting a shot, the first thing you have to do is make sure the atmosphere is set. If you're in different scenarios or different places, having the right atmosphere is imperative. So you got to make sure the mood is good. And the mood starts with you first. You have to make sure you got the killer outfit on, you look a certain way, and you're dressed to impress before you go over there. That's where everyone makes jokes and they lick the fingers and make sure the eyebrows are pinned back and they're ready to go. And then they make the first step, because before you even say anything, guess what? That individual you're shooting a shot at, they've already judged you. So they already have put in place either a no, a maybe, or a yes. What happens after you walk up is up to you. But the first time you approach something, it's either a no, a maybe, or a yes. And that's the same thing in business. That's the same thing in life when trying to make a change. You are either being approached by no's, maybes, or yeses. And depending on how good your business approach is, depending on how good your quick speech is, depending on how good you are on your feet, is if you can change the no to a maybe and a maybe to a yes. And a yes, and keep it a yes. That's where we kind of forget. Everyone always says, you looked good until you opened up your mouth. Well, this business proposition looked great until I saw the data on it. And that's what we start to realize. The second thing is you got to have the ultimate wingman or wingwoman. Everyone thinks that when you make that initial step towards change, it's a solo act. Well, guess what? You get the best outcomes when you're on that late night walk trying to talk to a girl in the club. You get the best outcomes when you got a wingman or wingwoman. So why in business would we think you could do it by yourself? Because you can't. You need that wingman or wingwoman to help you through, which is what we call the village. You need to be able to go up to somebody and say, hey man, I don't know how I'm going to spin this or what I'm going to say. Can you help me real quick? Can you throw me the lob and say something first? That's the same thing in business. It's the same thing all the time. Hey, I need you to go out there first, research, see what's going on with that group over there, and then I'll come over and then you'll introduce me through. That's the wingman. That's the wingwoman to business. The next thing you have to make sure of, the third principle, if you will, is what? Your background. Did you do your research? Have you checked the data? First of all. So how do you take a quick data poll? Right away, you're always trying to see if they're available. You got to take out what we call the roadblock. The one who's a blocker, plays offensive line. Ain't nobody talking to her friends tonight. She's here for fun. You got to take that block out the way. If you don't do that, you're not getting anywhere. And it's a definite no. So you got to have a friend who's willing to take out the block. That's just the way it is. Same thing in business. You have to make sure any blocks that you have, you've researched and figured it out. You could be the block. If you're trading in stocks, your money that you have may not allow you to participate in certain stock prices. You may not have done the market analysis on it, and you don't know if this is a great buying point. Just like you may sit up there and say, I want to talk to this girl later on tonight, but you may wait a couple of rounds before you go say something to her. Because what? You're building up the research, meaning the confidence to do it. That's one part. The other thing is the belief and capability in yourself. That's the background. All that you do because you've done your research, you've looked at the data, you checked the charts, and you realize I am capable of doing this. You always talk about that person that's out of your league that you can't catch. But you strive to every day because you know what? If it is successful and you win, then you come out the hero. Well, that's the same thing in business. If you pay attention to things that are out of your league, but you keep putting yourself in those situations and involving yourself around it, eventually it becomes part of your league. Eventually it becomes you, and eventually you become the leader. Lastly, is follow through. None of those other three steps matter if you're not willing to take the leap towards that individual or that person. If you're not even willing to say hello, then guess what? You lost. If you're not willing to go up to them and talk to them about their day, you lost. If you're not willing to go up there and buy them the drink, you've lost. The same thing happens in business constantly. If you're not willing to go up and say, hey, my name's Anthony, I'm looking at becoming a consultant, I would love to talk to you about some opportunities that I think you could make. If you don't even do that, then the change never comes. When you're enacting change in your life, you have to figure out what you can do that separates you from the 99% of what that category is doing. The 99% is the category that you're in. The 99% is the people that have failed approaching before you. So what is so special about you, and what did you do so differently to create a change in that individual? That's what we're talking about in business. In order for you to do that, you have to figure out that initial leap for yourself and what it entails through doing the research, through talking to the wingman, through paying attention to the atmosphere. When you're looking at that wingman, it's about the mastermind. Napoleon Hill in The Law of Success talks about that. When you're in the ultimate realm of ether, it talks about the mastermind. And it's two minds coming together. During this time period and what we're going through, I keep stressing the fact that it's not one person, but it's multiple people coming together to become one mind, which creates a mastermind. And when you do that, you create a master plan. And when you have that, you have a culture who can't be stopped. So what are you doing differently to create a world of change? And I ask you, how did you shoot your shot this year? Again, thank you so much for following and being part of my village. I'm always trying to grow my village and learn more of what other people do day in and day out. This is just for you to see how I process things. When I'm thinking about speaking about something, I literally go through this in my head on a daily basis. If you know me personally, you know that this is true. And sometimes we talk about it and it allows me to see how different I am than others. Don't allow other people to stop you from being yourself. That's what this is all about. Follow your life path and not what others would entail for you. That's why this is called Flip Culture TV, and that's why you're paying attention, because you realize you're just trying to figure out your life path as I am every day. Catch me on True Visionary XIV, on Snapchat and Instagram. And I'll see you next time on next week's Tuesday Talk.